Barbie! I told you to wait in the dream house.
Boys, avenge me! Avenge me! Avengers!
Bazinga.
Scruffy-looking nerf herders.
Ethan Hunt contacted you?
I am good, Rooster. I'm very good.
So you are Yoi's a trainer who trains.
Gonzo the Great will ride this baby again.
Hello and welcome to episode 66 of the Real Serious Podcast. As always, joined by Charles and Jack. We have 3 new original movies to watch and review today. Very excited for all that. And then a whole lot of slop news of sequels and prequels and everything in between. So it's a classic episode. Before we get started, boys, how we doing? Masters Sunday. Exciting.
Masters Sunday. It's a Bryson
and Rory pull it off.
Showdown. This is exactly what golf needs. The chance for the first Grand Slam in like 25 years, or is the up-and-comer, the guy who was hated, now the people's champion, back on top.
Who are we rooting for?
Rory. Oh, Rory. I'm a Rory guy.
Yeah, same.
All right, cool. We're on agreement then. We're a Rory podcast. Well, Sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was saying it when I went to where I used to live really close to Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky. And they played the PGA Championship there, and I want to say that was the year that Rory won the PGA Championship. So, really hoping he can pull this off. That'd be lovely. If he doesn't, it's going to be really sad.
Yeah, I need Rory to win, and I need Max Homa to have a good day to get into the top 5. If Max Homa gets in the top 5, your boy's buying some Blu-rays. That's all I gotta say. Some 4K steelbooks for sure.
This guy might be back. This guy might be back.
Bring in the truck.
Oh my goodness! Is that the Hall?
No, that's just what I have.
You said, what week did you have? But yeah, no, Electric Dave Sports. But before doing that, movie time. 3 originals. Everyone's clamoring. Why are there no original movies at the box office? Boom, 3 in a row. And you know what all you idiots let happen? Minecraft is going to beat all of them at the box office. Ugh.
Yeah, it will.
Whatever.
Can we briefly talk about Minecraft, or do we have Minecraft talk a little bit later?
We have Minecraft talk coming up because we'll talk about the news related to it.
I feel like there's a lot going on with that right now, so I feel like there's a lot to cover. But
yeah,
crazy stuff.
But episode 66, I feel like this would have been a great opportunity to review Revenge of the Sith.
Well, Revenge of the Sith is actually returning to theaters here in a couple weeks, so we could do it then.
We could.
That's going to be so epic. I can't wait.
I think it comes back in IMAX here in a couple weeks. There's a poster up in my theater I go to. Also, none of us reviewed actually the biggest original movie of the weekend because none of us saw it, but that was
Sacramento?
No, The King of Kings, the animated Jesus movie.
I almost went last night.
Which apparently it's one of the only 200 movies to ever get an A+ cinema score in the history of cinema scores. So I guess it's pretty incredible. But none of us saw it. So bad on us. Sorry, everybody.
There's more I would have went to see. I had my brother in town this weekend, so I tried to squeeze in as much as I could.
Yeah, but I did them all. I did all 3.
You killed it, man.
Hey, thanks. But yeah, so that was the weekend. But what have you been watching besides that, boys? Oh, it's been a good one.
I had a pretty good week.
Nice. Let's hear it.
I had so I started off. I ended up finishing Wonka. I don't know, it's just such a feel good movie. Paul King is awesome, and I really hope that he just keeps making these types of movies for ever. Because I feel like having just Paul King's filmography to show my kids or something one day would be super awesome. Because I feel like it's such a warm and fun movie that kids can watch, but then adults can really love too. So hopefully, I still haven't watched Paddington 3. I was really close to watching that, but we just didn't. So we'll see. We'll get to it soon. But finished Wonka, and then I felt a little inspired. So I watched Whiplash. I feel like that was just, I don't know, I just had some time, and it's an hour and 40 minutes. So after the whole Miles Teller bit, I went home and I was like, yeah, I guess I'll watch Whiplash. So watch Whiplash. And I think that J.K. Simmons in this movie is in my opinion, I think it's one of the greatest performances ever. I think his character is just like, no nonsense, but then at the same time, he's just, I don't know if I would have picked anyone else to play that role. And I think the movie would look so different if it was anyone but him.
Are you rushing
So-
or are you dragging?
No, and it's insane because I think, like we've talked about earlier, like we think the Oscars can get it wrong times, but they got it right. That was the man deserving the Oscar. Then obviously watched The Amateur. Then finally got around to Notting Hill. That was something I had on physical that
Love Notting Hill.
I've been trying to get to for a while. I liked it. I don't think I loved it as much as some people do. I gave it 3.5 stars. I was happy, but then sometimes I was like infuriated. There were points throughout this movie where I felt like Hugh Grant's character was just too nice, and it really made me angry. So,
Nice guys.
like, no, not even just like nice guys. Like he just continually got screwed over so many times, and he was just like, "Yeah, that's okay."
Yeah, and
That's
he'd fumble
totally
over
fine.
his words. Yeah, the classic Hugh Grant.
It made me so upset. So maybe I watch that movie again, and I think I'd like it more if I,
You ever seen
Watched
Four
it
Weddings and a
again.
Funeral?
No, I've not. I know that's also Richard Curtis.
That's another good Hugh Grant banger. Where
Yeah.
he also is he's like the same guy. He's like the same guy in all the rom-coms, honestly.
And I like
Or-
Hugh Grant. And
Yeah.
I like the movie, but it was just, I don't know. I think some people, like one of my friends, it's like it's one of his favorite movies of all time. And I feel like that's just a really hard bar to set, especially for at least the movie that I watched. But hey,
No, I'm with you.
each their own. That's awesome. Glad I really liked it.
Understandable.
And then I had a super awesome matinee yesterday watching Warfare. And we'll get to that later. But as soon as I walked out of this theater, someone was like, "Chicken jockey." And
Yes.
it was insane. Just kids running around the theater. It was nice to see it somewhat full when I was leaving, but it was just kids running around, just like "Fit and steel, chicken jockey, chicken jockey, chicken jockey." And I was like, all right, I need to get out of here as fast as possible. But yeah, that's what I watched. And then obviously Daredevil, Studio, watched one episode of Sopranos. We're 13 episodes away.
Oh, I cannot wait.
So
I cannot
we're-
wait to hear your thoughts.
We're getting close. It is getting really hectic here at school, like especially it being like the last couple of weeks. So we're not necessarily like having the time to like sit down and like watch episodes. So we're just gonna have to find, some time to squeeze it in there. But
Yeah,
Is-
like studying Sopranos. There you go.
Is Little 5 next weekend or the weekend following?
it's the 20. So the women's is the 25th, and the men's is the 26th.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like not next week. It's not this weekend, but next weekend. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
gonna be exciting times. I'm pumped.
cool. Charles, I feel like you would have less than me, so you should go next.
I do have less. I'm in the middle of like 4 movies right now. I've got like I'm like half.
That's crazy.
I don't know how that's possible. I can't not
through?
finish it.
What's that? Yeah, I don't know. I'm in the middle of Mary Poppins. I'm in the middle of Little Women. I'm in the middle of Blade Runner now. I started that last night, and then I got really tired. And I looked at the thermostat, and it was 78 degrees in my home. And I was like, okay, well, that's why I'm so tired. So then I had to go to bed. But I did watch one movie, and it was Happy Gilmore in honor of, or I guess it was like timely because of the Masters, but hadn't seen that in like 6 years. So I gave that a watch, give 4 stars. I think it's probably, I haven't seen all of Adam Sandler's like kind of stupid humor movies, but I think it's my favorite of the ones I have.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Click. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's like it's kind of.
I wouldn't consider that in his stupid humor movies. I'm being honest.
Click.
Yeah, that's like there's too much heart in Click.
That I feel like the end they just end. There's just like such a big like gut punch that I feel like
Yeah.
it's like that's
Like I would say his stupid ones are like
Grown Ups, Billy Madison,
Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy. Don't mess with the Zohan. That's my boy, the Water Boy.
that one's crazy.
I think The Longest Yard is my favorite.
Really.
Mr. Deeds.
Let's just go with it. that-
Um,
Is that him?
yes, so
I mean, I don't think this
The
one's
Wedding
super
Singer.
silly, but the rom-com, 50 First Dates is pretty epic. Big fan.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't know. That's a good
Yeah.
one though. It's funny because when you reviewed that, I had that at like a 3-star, and I have like no idea why. So I was like, in my head, I was like, this has to be a mistake. So I automatically just changed mine from a 3 to 3.
I don't even have it reviewed. I don't even have Happy Gilmore reviewed on my letter.
I'm just like, I feel like this movie's too iconic for me to like. Did I just watch this movie and hate it? Like what? Like
Well,
I don't
3 stars is still not terrible.
I know, but it's just like I feel like for what it is and what I remember from the movie, I feel like 3 just felt wrong. So I tampered with my ratings. So
Inflated it a bit. No, it is pretty
I
iconic. Like revisiting it, I kind of understood a lot more references, and realized there were a lot more quotes in this movie that I hear, even like thrown around the office. Like I was watching it with Will, my roommate Will, who I work with, and he was like, "Oh, like one of our bosses said this. I wonder if that was what it was from." Like, I feel like it's just like a very iconic movie. So
yeah, I love it.
and it felt right to watch it. Felt right.
I have like 2 things to add. I completely forgot that I watched 2 movies last night that I just didn't log, that just completely escaped my memory.
This guy.
Having my brother in town, he just wanted to like chill and watch movies, so we watched The Hangover. Great movie. Always funny. And then he fell asleep towards the end of The Hangover, so I was like, all right, I'm just going to turn something else on that's pretty quick. And been super pumped for Tron, so I watched not Tron Legacy, the 1982 Tron.
Oh,
There's a 1982 Tron.
Yeah, and it's interesting to say the least.
this guy.
Especially
this.
like, yeah, it's the visuals are exactly what you would think it would be in 1982. But I feel like for what video games were during that time, I feel like it's very fitting. Because I feel like
it was
anything that
like Disney's response to Star Wars.
yeah, and it's like anything that's like pixelated, or if anything like didn't feel so pixelated, then I feel like it would feel wrong, especially during that time. So watching this, I think I appreciated it. I didn't love the story, but definitely gives you some background into heading into Tron Legacy. So been wanting to rewatch Tron Legacy, but I feel like it would have just been wrong to hop straight into Tron Legacy instead of watching Tron. But crazy to think that this came out in 1982 and you had, Return of the Jedi 1983. So it's just wild stuff. And then I don't know. But Jeff Bridges, I've never seen him so young in my entire life. So I feel like that alone is worth watching the movie because he has like all the same mannerisms that he does. If you love like The Big Lebowski, I feel like he's like, he'll be like, man. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is the dude.
Oh man, love that guy.
Yeah, sorry to add a little bit more, but I watched a little bit more than I haven't even logged him on Letterboxd yet. It was just so recent. Hunter, you're on a roll this week.
Dude, I had a great week. All right, so I went on a Mission Impossible kick. I was like, I gotta get back into the world of Ethan Hunt, and let me go on a little diatribe here. Let me just take us off a beaten path for a second. So Mission Impossible 1, electric, 4 stars. Brian De Palma, banger, some awesome split diopter shots. You're like, this is it. Then you jump 4 years and you're Mission Impossible 2, and you're like, whoa, John Woo just took over this franchise and made it completely different. I like it. Don't love this one. 2.5 stars. I think a lot of it works, but a lot of the action works because John Woo just kicks ass. But then in between the story, not for me. Great hair though. Great hair in this one. Mission Impossible 3, possibly the best villain in the franchise. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Turns out this is J.J. Abrams' first live-action, like full-length movie. Before this, he was just doing TV, which is very interesting that they allowed him to do this. But it's a good movie, 3.5 stars. And then there was the in-between. Between 2006 2011, the question mark of Tom Cruise's star, wavered a little bit. So they're like, all right, we might have to replace him at Ghost Protocol. But they're like, no, we're going to give him one more shot. And then Ghost Protocol, baby. Brad Bird off The Incredibles, off The Iron Giant was like, let me cook. And 4.5 star banger right here. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Everything is awesome about this. We get so much. The Burj Khalifa scene in and of itself might be one of the greatest scenes of all time. Love it. He actually climbed that building. Then I watched Warfare, which we'll talk about later, and The Amateur. And then I was like, all right, it's been a few days. I got to get back into Mission Impossible. And then the beginning of the Christopher McQuarrie arc, Rogue Nation, 4 stars. And this is the one where Ethan Hunt becomes an insane person, just memorizing millions and millions of numbers in a few minutes because he has to save his friends is just the perfect thing for Ethan Hunt to do. This is the second time he's canonically died in the franchise. Banger across the board. Love it. This is an awesome movie. Also in the direction of maybe the best character in the franchise, Ilsa Faust. Streets are saying, I'm Streets and I'm saying it. And then I watched Drop. So an awesome Mission Impossible week. I got 2 to go, and my favorite one is the next one. So very excited there. I'm thinking I might wait a little bit closer to the new one to watch that, but I am itching for more Ethan Hunt and Friends. So I don't know. It was an awesome.
We're like a month out, which is insane
I
to
know,
me.
I know.
We keep getting the trailer.
I think tickets go on sale soon, and I got to snatch those up because I'm going across the nation to see it.
I'm pumped for you. That's going to be so awesome. I mean, I guess for the listeners, if you want to share your trip.
So I'm going to California, and it just aligns perfectly with Mission Impossible. So I'm gonna catch it in one of the few big IMAXs. It's one of the 10 screens that's actually listed on that awesome video of Ryan Coogler talking about Sinners. So it's one of those IMAX screens. So pumped. I don't know if they're going to show it in film. I don't think it was. I mean, I know they do actually film all the Mission Impossible movies on film, but I don't know if it's going to be shown in film. Either way, electric. It's the same theater I saw the last one in, so it's kind of a great bookend of like the 2-parter seeing in the same theater. Very pumped. My mission, should I choose to accept it? And I do.
God, that was so cool.
Thanks, man. Also, White Lotus season 3. It was all right. Not a great season of White Lotus, but
that's what I heard.
Still better than most shows. That's the thing. It's like when you have prestige television like this and you have like a down season, it's still better than most things, but like it's still down in comparison to what it was.
One of my roommates watched it, and he said he like keeps saying like, yeah, it was definitely the worst of the 3.
Yeah, season 2 is still my favorite. I think the location had to do quite a bit with this one. I don't know. I'm just so tired of like the tropical with the beach. They need to go cold.
Let's go skiing.
I know. I want to go to ski. Go to Aspen or something.
I would totally watch that.
Oh, I'll be there. But yeah, that's all I got.
Love it.
Anything else? Just want to jump into the news?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's hop in.
All right. First piece of news. The Oscars are going to have the best stunt design category at the Oscars, which will be starting to recognize films released in 2027. You sickos. You don't want to give Mission Impossible an Oscar. What's wrong with you? Sickos. But John Wick 5 is coming for that Oscar. So insane move.
They should
they should just do it next year. Films releasing this year. Who cares?
They should do like a hindsight Oscar where they give Oscars to every movie that deserved it for the past.
I will say that I've seen people doing that, and I feel like that would be fun to do maybe next week or something, and kind of like go through and say what do we think, in a couple of years would have won.
Oh, go by just go in the last few years and just say what won that year.
Maybe last 10 and share our personal favorites.
Yeah,
I feel like that'd be fun.
I would do that.
But
we're gonna talk a lot about Ethan Hunt. If I did that.
I like this though where they placed it because it's gonna push Tom Cruise to do something even crazier.
Yeah, so by the time that happens, maybe it'll be the movie where he goes to space.
Like the things we've already seen him do, he can't get an Oscar for that. Or maybe he just says, you know what, Mission Impossible, this is it. You know how crazy it is? Like he says in the trailer, I need you to, help me one last time. You know how funny it'd be if he came back and did another Mission Impossible and he was like, I need you to help me one last time.
Yeah, I need you to
with the full intent just to get the Oscar for it. I don't know. I feel like it sucks, but I've looked into.
Have we all seen Rogue Nation?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The speech that Alec Baldwin gives is like the perfect thing that I think just describes Tom Cruise. Let me find it. Keep going though.
But I was saying, I was a little frustrated when I initially saw we're not going to get it for like what, 3 more years, right?
Yeah, it's going to be the 2028 ceremony for the 2027 films.
Yeah, but after looking into it, I mean, it does make sense. I don't really know about like 3 years. If I'm just a little unaware of how the process works, but I was kind of digging in the comments, and people were like, "No, this kind of makes sense. Like, they need to figure out how to create a committee and what criteria they're going to use to pick this winner."
Fellas, they're looking at it. Just ask us. We're ready. We got it. We'll be good to go. We're ready to roll.
But I don't know. 3 years seems like a while to me, but at the same time, I'm sure adding another category definitely does take a lot of hard work. So who knows? But so pumped that we're getting this.
How much work does it really take, though?
I don't know.
I just feel like you could come up with if they really wanted to, they could come up with like a group of people who would do it in like a week.
Yeah, that's
like 3 years. 3 years is a pretty ridiculous.
Okay, but let's be real. Like if Tom Cruise doesn't win an Oscar, I feel like he's got to get like a lifetime achievement Oscar handed to him, right?
I think he'll get one at the end of the day when it's all said and done.
I feel like it'd be wrong if he didn't, and I feel like they would have to recognize that, even though they hate the big blockbuster movies, even though it's trying its best to put cinema on its back.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise has literally saved cinema, so it should be allowed. My Rogue Nation point was that Rogue Nation to me is the movie that is literally about how Tom Cruise makes movies. Because like in the beginning, the CIA board wants to like get rid of them because they can do it easier. Like they don't need these guys dressed in masks to go around and do it themselves. Like we have drones and all that stuff. And then by the end of the movie, like it's proved that that's the right way to do it. And like the insanity of the hard way to do it, like maybe they'll fail, but like at least they tried. And then they get Alec Baldwin on their side at the end. It's it. It's like, yeah, I get it. I'm You're right. So yeah, that rocks. God, I love Mission Impossible, man. I'm so pumped. If that movie, that should make all the money. Like it should just be like everything else doesn't make anything. That should make all the money because it's just so good. But yeah,
but Lilo and Stitch.
We're gonna talk about the state of cinema here in a minute. I'm gonna say that for the end actually with Minecraft 2, but we'll get there. No, don't even. Peacemaker season 2. Peacemaker season 2 coming in August. Are we excited?
Yes, very much so.
I liked season 1 quite a bit.
It was great. I think this is like one of John Cena's best roles, and I feel like he fits this character so perfectly. It feels so right that I feel like he's just playing himself.
Yeah.
But in the best way possible. Like, not he's playing himself and this totally sucks, but you see him and you're like, yeah, that's John Cena. Just having the time of his life, playing such a fun and like awesome character.
I'm very interested to see how they'll handle the jump from like the old DC that he was a part of to now this DC that he's a part of, and see like how much season 1 and 2 actually interconnect, or like if they bring it up, or like I don't know, maybe in the first 5 minutes of the first episode he like falls into like a portal and he's like in the new world. It's like, all right, there we go. Hit the ground running.
So he's in the new DCU, confirmed.
Yeah, and like Amanda Waller's in it, and like that's the thing where there's like the weird crossovers.
Amanda Waller just exists in every single DC cinematic universe. She's just everywhere. She's just a canon character. She's just there. Just like G20, which none of us watched this week.
G20 is a streaming banger. It's probably gonna have like 10 billion minutes watched, and it's gonna be the biggest movie of all time. But yeah,
no. Pump for it.
Yeah, no, it looks good. So hopefully that it ends up being good. Next up is a literal plot line from the TV show The Studio. A Hershey movie is coming 2026, starring Alexander Daddario and Finn Wittock. It's about the story of the Hershey family who amassed a chocolate fortune. Okay.
I'm picturing a crossover between The Founder and Unfrosted.
Oh.
Unfrosted was painful.
Oh, my goodness.
I love Jerry Sub. I do. He's a funny guy.
That's just what I pictured.
That was miserable. Hunter sent me the tweet, and it was like the funniest thing ever because I didn't see the news for the Hershey movie yet, and he sent it to me. And then there's the picture of Seth Rogen from the studio, and he's like, "We are going to fast track a Kool-Aid movie."
Yeah.
And it just could not have been.
Oh,
God.
God.
So I was laughing. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I like sent it to a bunch of friends. I'm like, "Dude, this is so funny."
It's what are we doing here, folks? Like, if we run out of IP this quickly, like, when are we gonna get the Icy movie about how that polar bear like made it his way to America and started a business? Like, I'm just so
I think
What if-
Hershey's
you know-
kind of interesting.
like I would see this is
Hand up. I'm not out.
see this is why it's so good to have Charles on this podcast, because he's like the average consumer. We're like the three because like 3 original movies came out this weekend, and he's like, I'm gonna pass. And then like we talk about Hershey's movie, and he's like, you know what? I do like their chocolate. So, oh God, I don't know. I'm not. Hey, listen, this is why it's good to have different opinions on the podcast. You know what I'd rather have is like a movie that's I don't even know if it's an interesting story, but like they can make up the story of like the battle between Pepsi and Coke. I think that would have been a more interesting
That'd be
story.
sweet. Except I'm pretty sure.
Or dude, that's just unfrosted. No.
Yeah, it's some frosting.
Damn it.
Pop-Tarts. What? How did we get here?
It has 3 writers on the Pop-Tart movie, or on the Hershey movie. Folks, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's
I'm in.
It's directed by. Let me see. It's directed by this guy. Let's see what this guy's done. Mark Waters. Mark Waters. Oh, he's from South Bend, Indiana.
Shout out South Bend.
Hoosier. He was the director on. Let's see here. He was the director on He's All That, the Addison Rae Netflix movie. Mother of the Bride. He was the director of Bad Santa 2. Mr. Popper's Penguins.
It's actually a good
and
movie.
The
Jim Carrey.
Spiderwick Chronicles. Oh, he also directed Mean Girls and Freaky Friday. Well, okay.
There's hope.
I guess so. Yeah, that was the Hershey movie. We're gonna the next 2 topics are Batman related, so we're gonna start with the one that's a little less interesting. The star of the movie Drop. A lot of fans are casting him as the new Batman in the DCU, and he was like, "Yeah, for sure, that'd be awesome to be Batman." I would also like to put my name in the ring to be Batman. If they're looking for anybody, I will also be Batman. So yeah. There's that. That was the one piece of news. That was the one piece of news. The next one is that Robert Pattinson is joining Dune 3 and Batman 2 continues to be delayed. So I would say
Rumored.
Yeah, rumored to be Dune 3 and rumored to be delayed. It seems as though something is happening maybe in personal life of Matt Reeves. So I don't want to speculate there, but that's what a lot of the rumor mills are saying. So hopefully, take your time, Matt. I'm not really in a rush to see Batman. I mean, I am in a rush to see Batman too, but like,
I am
I'd rather-
personally pretty eager to see the Batman.
I'd rather wait an extra year or two if like you're like, hey, let me get this exactly right. I'd be like, all right, cool. And I think the Penguin is a good little appetizer, where it's like, we got a little tide me over.
I want to say the person that speculated that there's something going on in his personal life was totally just like fictionalized.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or at least
Well,
I want to say
Variety
someone on.
should not
I want
run
to.
with that.
I want to say it was like a creator. She came out with it, or at least this is my understanding. And basically, some editorial pages kind of ran with it, and I think someone from their team kind of came out and said like, no, like that's not true. Like either way, like even if that is true, like why is it that person's place to really come out and say something like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
somebody would
Forbes
say that in the
ran with
first place.
it on an article. So
Maybe I'm wrong. I maybe need to do a little bit more research.
no,
but
that's
either
really
way,
nice.
it's like,
Yeah, I don't want to. But like either way, you know what? Take your time, dude. Like
I'm a little worried personally though.
that we might never get it. There's a chance
just-
we might never get it.
Like Robert Pattinson is just everyone wants him in everything, and I understand that he is our Batman right now, and obviously I know that he wants to finish this movie, but I'd say that he's one of the most desirable actors to work with in Hollywood right now. And I think his slate is just getting filled by the minute.
Yeah.
And I think him being in Dune Part 3, I love it as a Dune fan. I think this is so awesome and so cool, and I'm beyond pumped that he can be a part of this franchise. But at the same time, it's like I want to see the Batman too. And unfortunately, it's just I think this just further delays it. And to think that we could be almost like 6 or 7 years away from, this when the initial Batman came out from when. Batman 2 comes out.
We're just under 3 years right now.
But like it's slated to come out in 2027, right?
Yeah. So
And
my thought process is on that as well. So like if you look at the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman Begins was 2005, The Dark Knight was 2008, and then The Dark Knight Rises was 4 years later in 2012. So like the timeline is not quick, I would say, for Batman movies. Additionally, I would not be shocked. Obviously, we have no information on this. This is 100% speculation. I would not be shocked if, because of all these issues, because of the delays, I would be willing to say that maybe there's a chance that like the Batman 2 is just becoming so big that they're trying to figure out how to like make it one the way it is. Batman 2 could be a 2-parter where it's like they just film back to back and then it's a back to back year kind of thing. That's a possibility where it's like, okay, we wait this long and we get 2 things back to back.
Like a Wicked type thing?
Yeah. No one mourns the wicked.
That's actually insane, though. That I mean, obviously, going off of Wicked, the fact that they filmed basically a 3-hour movie, and they're like, "Yeah, we're basically gonna film like 2 movies just like back to back." I think that's like, I don't know. At least for movies, I know that's pretty common for TV, but I think that's pretty cool, especially with like that set, and I'm sure being in that space and being able to like film both those movies back to back. I'm sure it was a really cool experience.
Yeah. You know what I learned? So the TV show Felicity that was on the CW in the in the late 90s, early 2000s. Let me read you this real quick. So it starred Kerry Russell as like a girl who goes to college. It was created by both J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves. I just think that's so weird that like both of them became like J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves. I think that's kind of cool. So maybe we should all go back and watch Felicity. We're missing out. Clearly,
Probably not.
No one else thought that was
I
cool.
appreciate-
That's okay.
I
No one else thought
appreciate-
that was cool.
I think
I appreciate.
I just think it was
That's
funny
sweet.
that like the directors of like the 2 big like. Never mind. It's all good. Never mind. I'm
Man, I understand where you're coming from.
having a weird episode today.
Very cool, Hunter. Very cool.
Thanks. So yeah. Anyway, Pattinson may be the villain of Dune 3, which would be really cool. Anyway, that's how we got there. Beetlejuice 3. Jack, take it away.
I wonder what it's going to be called.
What? I mean, come on. If you say it 3 times, though, he's gonna show up.
He's going to be in every theater.
Yeah. I will. Is this confirmed?
Yes, confirmed in the works at
Wow.
at Warner Brothers, along with a couple other sequels to things that are less interesting as well. Somehow less interesting.
I will say the first Beetlejuice movie, I think I enjoyed it. I don't think it was like my favorite. I think there's a lot of nostalgia tied in with that movie for a lot of people. Honestly, even for me personally, that's something I'd watch at like my grandparents' house all the time, and I'd always like joke with them about. But on rewatch, it wasn't necessarily like my favorite, so maybe I need to rewatch it with them, and I'd like it more. But Beetlejuice 2, if you've been listening for a while, like I went into this movie, I was like, this movie is gonna be so buns.
Mhm.
I came out and I was like, you know what? I actually really enjoyed myself with this movie. So much so that when it came out on streaming, I watched it. So, and I was even, all right, look, you can call me a sick man, all right? But I was just walking in Walmart and I sent you guys a picture. They had the steelbook for Beetlejuice, and I was just like, at the end of the day, I didn't buy it. But the fact that it crossed my mind to buy it, it just says, it speaks volumes to the type of movie this is. And I think the direction.
I'm always of the belief that I buy the top 10 of my movies every year. Sometimes more, but I always
like that.
make it a point to buy the top 10.
I like that.
To be fair, any steelbook I see, I think twice about buying.
Okay.
It's gotten to that point.
Yeah. I'm glad that I've incepted you guys into the Steelbook and physical media. From the beginning of this podcast to now, it's really morphed into a bad habit for all of us. That's a great fun habit.
It's quite bad.
Yeah.
We get to share it though. You know
what? Other people spend their money on bad things. We spend our movies on money on cool things. So think about that.
Make us happy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can
I am not interested in Beetlejuice 3. It's kind of my.
Is Tim Burton returning? I'm assuming.
If Tim Burton returns, it'd be more interesting. I would assume so. I'd be shocked if like even the cast would agree to do this without Tim Burton. I don't know. I think
Honestly,
it went too big with Beetlejuice 2, if I'm being honest. I think it was too much. That's why I like Beetlejuice 1. It's a little smaller.
More contained. Sure.
Yeah.
I think Beetlejuice 2 or like Beetlejuice, I think the zaniness and the just absurdity of the entire movie is why I like it. You know, I think the pacing is just ridiculous. It is like there's parts that are kind of slow, but then there's parts that just like move so fast. And personally, honestly, I think that's kind of why I like it. It's like the like unmatched, like kind of like almost like tonal shifts at points.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like at one point you think it's this movie, and then at another point you think it's just like completely different. They go into so many different storylines, while they may not be perfectly, detailed. I think I enjoyed them enough to where I watched that and I'm like, wow, I had a good time. So Beetlejuice. I don't know. I'm kind of like, they have my attention. I'm more excited for this movie than I was for Beetlejuice. So just gotta see how they play it out. You know, what if they introduce like a new? I don't know, it's like Jenna Ortega again. Like, does she grow up and have a family and have kids? Like how?
Yeah, they just keep fast forwarding the timeline.
Yeah. Catherine O'Hara. I mean, she's done. I mean, she's like, she's one of the best parts about the studio. I love her in the studio. She's
so good in the studio.
But I don't know. I'd love to see her come back, but I think how the last one ended, I don't really see her coming back. So I don't know. I mean, they're just continually removing more people from like the OG movie, which isn't terrible in my opinion.
I would like a Beetlejuice movie that's actually a prequel to Beetlejuice, where
that'd be dope.
How he became Beetlejuice. Let's just go full cinematic universe with the Beetlejuice world. That's all I want.
Yeah, let's learn about the sandworms. You know, like are they cousins with
are they
the worms on
the
Arrakis
universe?
Yeah,
like, how can we really intertwine all these IPs?
Like, will one day someone step out of their door and they'll realize that Paul Atreides is there, standing on the sand, riding a worm, and everyone's just like, "Holy cow!"
Or farming.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's how they figure out how to make Dune Messiah more interesting. Is he just actually asked Beetlejuice for help? That would be more interesting, for sure.
They're about to have another like meal, and someone's like, "Man, I'm really thirsty. Is there anything we could drink?" And there's like a beetle like crawling on the ground. They're like, "Huh, Beetlejuice." And they're like, someone else is like, "Beetlejuice." And then the other person's like, "Beetlejuice." And then he's like, "May thy knife chip and shatter." And they're like, I don't know.
That was great.
Have you seen?
Thank you.
Did you know a studio exec somewhere is just itching for that?
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah. I just gave you the idea of a lifetime.
Yeah, we'll take 10%.
Everyone in the theater.
Everyone stands up.
Oh my god. So yeah, Gremlins. Are we interested in Gremlins 3 and Goonies? Another Goonies.
Ooh, I'll take Goonies.
You know what? Wouldn't phones ruin Goonies?
I think we've had this conversation down in that cave.
I think phones would ruin a lot of these 80s like teen movies where like they have phones that makes everything a lot easier.
Like at the beginning where they all meet up and there's that super like, I don't know why this is like super nostalgic to me, but like there's this scene where like Josh Brolin is like using like he's like lifting on the bench. He's like in the living room and then they hit the private part off the statue and then like they're like, "Oh my gosh, like that was my mom's favorite part." And it's like that would not happen in this one. They would all be
I also
like
think like there's
gaming and they would
go knock on their friends' doors. Is that a thing that happens anymore?
No way.
Because like that's like a
text, "Hey man, you around?"
Yeah, like we're really like the last group of people to do that, I guess.
We didn't do that much.
I did it probably until I don't know, maybe middle school. go knock at someone's door. It's like, hey, is Bill there?
I mean, maybe you could still do it if kids, like, I'm assuming, I don't know what age kids are getting tablets or iPods or something like that these days, but I would assume up until the point where they don't have a phone or some sort, they would just
I
go
just
to
think that's
next
so
door
young
knock.
nowadays. Like, I don't really want to like 8-year-olds like running around in Goonies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want someone
maybe you know
cool.
what? Maybe just do it set back in the 80s again. Let's just keep living the 80s nostalgia forever.
I wouldn't mind that.
I did see a video the other day of a guy, very good video. Eddie Burback. He did like a whole month without his phone, and like he locked his phone up and like had like a landline and had like write everything down. Very interesting video. I honestly wish we can go back to the time like that. It'd be really nice, I think.
I would have to read the news to get the newest.
Yeah, he would
cinema
like
news.
go get a paper and like
I'd like go grab the paper. On the front, it's just like Robert Pattinson, Batman 2 delayed to 2035, and I just throw it down. I'm like, no.
No, but I feel like it would be so cool to like walk up to a newsstand with a dime, just like hand them a dime. You get
here you go, buddy.
Now it's like $4, but back in the day,
It's crazy that like Aura farming has reached that level. You know, just like going to get a newspaper could be like considered.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just I think that we've gotten too advanced as a society. Like, I think that we're at like a weird in between where we're not so advanced that like robots have taken over and like we're at fully automated, but like we're so advanced that we've like lost the humanity in the in between. Because that's what I was thinking too. Is it's like internet stuff. Like, if you explain internet stuff to people outside of the bubble of the internet, you sound like a crazy person. But like if you're on the internet, like things seem really important. Great example is the Rizzler. It's like if you try to explain the Rizzler to someone who doesn't know it, you sound like a psychopath. But like if you're on the internet, you're like, the Rizzler's pretty freaking awesome. Like the Rizzler's really cool. And then you have to explain the Costco guy is like not the kid's dad. They're just like buddies. It's like a whole thing.
you guys ever
Could
seen
not agree more.
the comedian who like, if you ever got sent back in time to like, I don't know, 1800s, and you had to explain what current life was like, you would have no idea how to do it. Like, yeah, well, everyone's got these phones. Oh, what's a phone? Oh, yeah, it's like a little device where you can do it, like look up news and like reach people. Oh, how does that work? I don't know. And like it keeps compounding. Like, yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah,
how
like
it
you
works.
can't help with things.
Yeah,
How does the information get there?
that's
Like,
a really good question.
Yeah, I
too.
think the air or something.
I will say
I'm
I'm incredibly grateful, even though I kind of agree with you, Hunter, in the fact that we're becoming incredibly advanced in technology. I'm very grateful to live in a time where we can have such advanced technology that we can see Tom Cruise hanging off an airplane several times.
Yeah,
So
that's
keep
where it's
doing
okay.
that.
Yeah,
That's
keep doing
this.
that.
That's
Keep doing
this.
that. The best thing too is like I think there's just too much content out there. Like there's just so much stuff. Like it's just very overwhelming. Like it used to be like you just go to Blockbuster and like that's what you had. Like that was your stuff that you had. Like and now it's just like there's everything all the time available for you, and it's like the choices are just too much.
So I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I think it'd be really fun. So Caitlin and I have wanted to do this. Like I think I saw this on TikTok somewhere. So whoever created this, shout out to you. But you know how in Walmart they may not have these anymore, but they used to have like those bins of just tons of DVDs on sale.
Yes.
I wanted to go like one day where literally Caitlin and I have like nothing to do. I want to go to Walmart and just like stick our hands in there, just grab one, pull it out, and those are the two movies that we're watching for the night.
Yeah.
I feel like that would just be like so much fun just to kind of like get a DVD for like $5. Like we'd have that memory of just like watching. Look, could be a good movie, could be the worst movie we've ever seen in our entire lives. But I remember going to Blockbuster as a kid, and I was so pumped every single time. Like walking down the aisles, just even looking at movies that I didn't even like. I was like 5 or 6. You know what I'm saying? Like even Redbox. Redbox was awesome. My grandparents would take me there. We'd be scrolling through the movies. I'd find one that I really want. We'd check it out. Man, I miss that like connection that you kind of like used to have with movies where you don't have it now. But shout out Physical Media for bringing that back, and shout out Hunter for
I mean,
me
like
relive my childhood.
you used to be able to like go and like I think this is so funny because like we really hit the tail end of this. Like people, if someone's older listening to this, they're like, "You guys don't even know how good it was."
Yeah.
But like we used to be able to like walk down the aisles and then be like, "All right, like that, that cover art looks pretty cool," and like pick it, and like you'd have no idea really what it was. Like you read the back and you'd be like, "All right, like sure, we'll see." And then like that was what you took the chance on for that evening. And like it's like, did it work? Yeah. If did it not work, like then we know. But like, I think there's too much stuff, and like now like society too is like so separate in like their own little worlds and bubbles. Like we used to have like a more conformist to like what pop culture was, and now it's like pop culture like all over the place. And like I think too, like that's the thing where I feel very old is like I'll be on Twitter and stuff, and like it's like the streamer Quizzybix is in Quebec, and look at this crowd of 40,000 people that showed up live for him, and I'm like, who is this person? I'm like, what is going on? Like that's where it's just there's too many people that are like famous.
Well, have you there's a study about it, or maybe not a study, but there's like kind of a tendency. If you're like as humans, if we're presented with more options, so like let's say we have to pick I don't know, 2 things out of a number of options. If we're presented 5 options versus 25 options, it's harder for us to pick 2 things out of the 25, even though like in theory you'd think more options, you'll be able to like, I don't know, but it's a lot easier for us to identify a couple things to indulge in when you have fewer options.
Yeah.
Now with like all the streaming libraries, that's why everyone says it's so hard to find a movie to watch, because there's so many movies to like choose from.
There's just too many options. It's just like pick something. Like that's where it's like the one bonus of being in a hotel right now is like I can't hook anything up to this TV, so like I have to watch cable. Like if I want to watch something on the TV, and like I just pick a channel. I'm like, all right, here we go. This is what's happening right now. And like I watched a lot of Diners, Drive-Ins, Dives, but like it's nice to have it limited.
Yeah.
For me.
And I want to say my brother was talking to me yesterday. For some reason, they watched a Charlie Chaplin like Modern Times movie in one of their classes at school, but they got onto the topic of like movies and like cinema in general. And he was saying like 1940s, I want to say he said like 60% of the population of the United States was going to the cinema on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Like that's just insane to me.
So I did a lot. I know exactly what you're talking about. So there was this thing where basically like it used to be that 60% would go because that's where your entertainment was. And then once the invention of TVs at home happened, it was like, whoa, a lot of people are staying home to watch TV. So then the cinemas had to change. And it was like, all right, what can we do that's not possible at home? And that's where it was like, we go bigger budgets. We have, widescreen Technicolor was like the big thing for a long time of like, look at this. Now it's all in color and perfect. And then it evolved more too, where like, for even a long time, like even in like the early 90s, before like flat screens were like a thing, it was all in the 4:3 format for home in the square, where now like you go to theaters and it's boom, it's widescreen. But now everything is widescreen. Like you can have a theater experience at home. And so the difference is now there needs to be things in the theaters that you can't get the same way at home, which is why like IMAX has become so big. There's like that 4D screen vision stuff that like is so big. And like, I think that needs to be the path forward we go, where like things like Mission Impossible, like big event things need to be in theaters. And then like, we shouldn't be putting out things that are equivalent to that on like Netflix. Like I think a great example of that is the Extraction movies with Chris Hemsworth. Like those I think are like really decent movies like that should be on the big screen. Like I'm fine if you want to put like the Addison Rae, no hate to her, but like the He's All That on Netflix all day long. So
sure.
Like, the things that are bigger should be in theaters to incentivize people going to theaters, and like we should focus on like that premium theater experience.
I also think to an extent there should be more exclusivity to like seeing movies in the theaters, because a lot of people will just be, oh, it'll be in streaming in 2 months anyway.
Okay. Yes. So I listened to a very interesting, so CinemaCon happened and I listened to some of the panels afterwards. And one of the interesting ones was this guy who interviewed, it was the head of Regal, the distributing guy at Paramount, and then Joseph Kosinski, the director of Top Gun Maverick and F1. And they were talking about the windows. And it used to be that it was like a 45-day guaranteed to 90-day guaranteed window before the pandemic. Then the pandemic happened and it was like, all right, like what are we going to do? And so they switched the 45-day window, sometimes even shorter. And the windows are now like so short that like people will wait. And according to the studios, like according to the Paramount guy, he was like, well, there's no real difference in like what we see when it comes to like expectations there. And it was just like, well, no. But then the Regal guy was like, well, no, but you're training your audience to get used to the fact that they don't have to come for those maybes. Like the ones where it's like, maybe I'll see it, maybe I won't. Like I'll wait. like the extra couple weeks. Like that's the stuff that you're losing out on. Where I think they were talking about like how the box office last year is down 60% from what it was in 2018. But in 2018, you had like 40% more movies in theaters. And so it's like, oh, well, there's like the difference. Like, well, yeah, but those things should be in theaters to give people the option to go see it. And then Joseph Kosinski was talking about how he makes movies for the theater. Like they go into theaters and test it. And like it should work there versus like at home. And I was like, yeah, that's right. So interesting stuff across the board.
Just to add something about Joseph Kosinski, he's also the not only just the director of F1 and Top Gun Maverick, but Tron Legacy as well. So
yeah,
want to make sure that's
shout out that guy.
So make sure it's seen it. But then
shout out that guy.
I want to say, like, even with everything going on with, I guess, just to continue the drive into like cinema now, 2020, like we're all at home. No one's going to the movie theaters. No one's going out. Everyone's getting used to like this like forced sense of like isolation. And I think when we went back to the movie theaters, I think some of the movie theaters did a good job as to where they'd like put in new seats and they had invested in this experience. But not only that, I didn't realize this really until the Minecraft movie, but at the IU, like the Bloomington Cinema or the AMC, the seats are all so compact, and it's literally just trying to pack as many people as you possibly can in that movie theater. And for the Minecraft movie, it was just packed out. I left the theater. One of my friends was like, I'm not going to lie, I kind of felt like claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that too. And I was like, that like, I think that's totally like a COVID thing as to where before that was just the norm, but as movie theaters have introduced, reclining chairs to take up more space, give you more space, make it a more relaxing experience. And some of these theaters haven't caught on to it, but post COVID, we're put in this space where we have enough room to kind of like, stretch out, put our arms to our side, but it still doesn't feel like enough. So,
yeah,
I just thought that was an interesting point.
No, I mean, that's where I think too, like there's like a $2.2 billion investment across multiple chains. Like AMC is doing $1 billion in, or $1.5 billion in US and European locations, like focusing on upgrading theaters and adding more amenities and putting more IMAX theaters around. So like, I think that that's the way it's going. I do think now this ties into our Minecraft conversation, which we can talk about now, because Minecraft 2 is being worked on and they're going to make a Minecraft 2. I think people forget how to go to the movie theater, and it's very bad. Listen, like we talked about it last week a little bit. Like I get in Minecraft, it's like, hey, we'll clap and cheer. Like, I mean, even in Avengers, when Cap grabs Mjolnir, like, whoa, like the whole thing. There's a difference between that and then like the people who are just like throwing popcorn and like making a mockery of it. And then even in my like drop screening last night, a lot of kids were just like talking. It's like, where have we gotten to this point?
Yeah, I don't understand. I think people aren't even going for the movie anymore. And it's like, I think in my theater, I felt very fortunate that it was pretty tame. People clapped, cheered, had a good time, and enjoyed the movie. Great. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Go and enjoy the movie, clap, cheer, do what you want. But then, dude, I don't know if you guys, you had to have seen this video. The dude who brought like a real live chicken into the,
yes.
How do you sneak a chicken into a movie theater?
Also, just like why? Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. I mean, again, just seeing how bad some of these theaters look. Again, I cannot sympathize for the individuals that work at these movie theaters right now because they're just there to do their job, and people are making it miserable. And I gotta say, even with like Minecraft movie being deemed a kids movie, I'm sure that there's like, older individuals that want to go see this movie,
or like families that are there with their kids.
Yeah, exactly. And there's parents that want to take their kids, but may not be able to because they're, I don't want to go take my kid to a reckless experience or like get popcorn dumped on my head and someone be like, oh, water release, that's not what anyone wants. So I think it almost, and even the Minecraft movie director came out this week and was like, I love it. Right.
Yeah, he
came out this week and applauded the people for having this type of behavior, which I just think is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I totally understand you want people to go and see your movie, but this is just not how you should be enjoying a movie. This is not enjoying a movie at all. It's being reckless and just being so inconsiderate of the people that are in the space and the people that work there. It's just not cool at all.
I totally agree. I don't blame the director for applauding this behavior because, like, ultimately it is bringing people into the theater, and people are going for that experience just to get fired up. And like, I'm sure he has like a bottom line he has to meet. So he definitely already met it, but like, I don't blame him for wanting to like encouraging this behavior to get more people to the theaters. I do empathize with the workers at these theaters that have to deal with the.
I think it sets such a bad precedent.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I do too. But
like, I think a way that this was done really well, 100% not to the same degree, or I wasn't even gonna say the Minions. Honestly, I was gonna say like Wicked, for example. Wicked, they came out and like Ariana Grande said, "Hey, please do not sing along with the movie. Like, there will be an opportunity to that later, but like,
nobody wants
please,
to hear you."
Like, no, 100%. Like, people are coming to watch the movie. They're not coming here to watch you perform. And I think that was handled. Obviously, I think Cynthia Erivo had some kind of like some opposite thoughts on that like people can do that. But either way, in my opinion, that's something that's more recent in my mind that said, hey, you can come and like still enjoy the movie, but like have respect for the people around you. Because that's how it's supposed to be in the theater.
I just think it's like a weird lack of respect.
Yeah, but also Wicked is appealing to theater people. Minecraft is appealing to young high schoolers and children that don't.
But I still think that there's like a respect that's just been lost since COVID of like just even like a social awareness of it all. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like we're not that far removed from that age demographic. Like, I feel like, yeah, like my friends and I would have went in high school or like middle school to go see Minecraft and like cheer at Chicken Jockey. But I don't think I would have been like before the movie being like, who's hyped for the Minecraft movie, or like just yelling like I am Steve constantly. I think there's like a difference in like what was prior to what is now.
I don't know, because I remember one time I went to go see the Lego, I think, Ninjago movie with like all my friends, and like some of my friends were being like really stupid, and like we were sophomores in high school. We were 15 years old. Like,
yeah. But I think there's like it's become culturally acceptable versus I think even then it was like frowned upon. Like now where it's like the director's coming out and saying like it's good. Like I think that like people sharing it online is like a calling for more people to even do it. Like I think that there's like the social acceptedness of it that's just gotten too much. Well, even phones in theaters, right? Like I think people like, I'm sure you guys noticed before and after, like people just are on their phones more and like people are just talking more.
Like in my mind, the director applauding this behavior, I really don't think that like does much more for the movie, because the people are still going to go to the theaters where the employees there are going to be the ones that enforce the rules or are going to be the ones that call the cops. So I'm just like, if he tells them not to and they go and they like, I don't really know how much it's going to change the opinion of, like a 15 or a 16-year-old kid that's like going to the movies and like doing all this stuff. Like, he's not gonna be like, oh, the director doesn't want me to do it, like I'm gonna stop doing it. I feel like it's like not that deep for them. I feel like he just had an easy layup to just be like, you know what, I think this is wrong, and I think the way that like movie theaters are being treated is wrong, and I'm gonna like stand up for that. And he just completely just like airballed, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I just think there's levels to it. We've just pushed past a level.
No, but
yeah,
glad it's making movie though.
Money, though. Minecraft 2, I think Minecraft 2 coming to theaters near you, and it's going to be even more meme centric and more. We're going to say more words. Ender Dragon.
Let's just describe everything.
Yeah, we're going to just say it all. Okay, next up is Blaze Rod. Ender Pearl. Supergirl had some leaked set photos, and she looks exactly like Supergirl, which is pretty sweet. So cool there. And then we got some Johnny Storm news. Joseph Quinn talking about Johnny Storm, saying he's less callous and less womanizing than he has been before. No, thank you.
Boo.
Yeah, is that a great thing to say?
Boo.
Like it's kind of the whole thing there. I don't know.
I think like him,
come on, what are we doing?
Him being egotistical and him being a hothead, I think it doesn't solely revolve around, I don't know, at least the way that the human and like, look, from what I've heard online, it sounds like the Human Torch in the comics, like this is how he is, like at least like it's very aligned with like the Chris Evans version of the Human Torch.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not opposed to the change. I think if he's still, super self-centered, that's totally fine with me, and everything's about him. I don't think he has to be like this womanizer, like massive, like ladies' man to like be exactly what I want from this movie. And I don't think it's going to ruin it for me. And Joseph Quinn, as we're going to talk about later, I think he's just like killing it right now. So I'm excited to see what he does with this character. I don't think it kills it for me, but I totally understand why it would for some people.
Yeah. I think that what is missing here is like that could be the character arc he goes on, and you just eliminated it. Where it's like he could start the way that Chris Evans was in the 2000s movies and then get to this point that they want him at.
Sure.
And like that would have been a very interesting character arc over maybe the course of a few movies where he like learns to, be that person he should be. And it's like, wow, that's endearing. Instead, we're just fast forwarding there and it's like, oh, okay.
No, I agree.
Okay, that's all we got there for news. We can get into some trailers now if we'd like to do that. Let's start with the least interesting trailer, Havoc, the Gareth Edwards Tom Hardy movie. A drug deal gone wrong. A Bruce detective must fight his way through the criminal underworld to rescue a politician's estranged son. This is coming to Netflix April 25th, so just a couple weeks. Did we think this looks cool?
I added it to my watch list. It looked bloody. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it looked interesting. I mean, I think it looked like a very big, it looked like a Netflix movie.
It just looks like the kind of movie we've gotten over and over again.
Oh yeah, big time.
So
big time.
I'm not like
I agree.
Overly excited for it.
Then
if I have time and I want to turn something on, maybe it's there.
That's what Netflix is all about. Churn and burn.
Does Tom Hardy ever play an English person?
Yeah, wasn't he in Peaky Blinders? And The Gentleman.
He's in The Gentleman, right? I want to say he is.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know if he is. I don't think he is in The Gentleman. I just totally made that up.
He's
Sorry,
British. He's British in. Isn't he British in Dunkirk?
Doesn't he like not speak? He's like the pilot the entire time. Am I wrong?
I think he's British there.
Okay, I just don't remember. I think his dialogue. I think he has like 8 lines, maybe, or like it's like incredibly limited dialogue in that movie. He's literally just like, and then at the end he just aura farms next to the plane. He's just I'm him.
That was
it's like,
cool.
yeah, that's me.
Isn't he British in Inception?
Yeah,
he might be.
Okay, so back in 2010, so 15 years ago.
Good pig.
There we go. Next trailer was a shocker: Predator: Killer of Killers, the animated Predator movie, coming to Hulu this summer. That takes place of Predator over time. He fights some samurai. He fights what looks like some World War II people. He fights some Vikings, which looks sick. This looked pretty cool. I was pretty in on this.
It looked cool.
Yeah, I think this looked really cool. So I hope it is cool. But yeah, Hulu, Predators. This is the second Predator movie we're getting this year. So we're getting Predator Badlands as well.
Predator's back.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys anything else. Predator. That's
yeah,
fine.
sorry.
No, good. Next up is The Phoenician Scheme, the new Wes Anderson movie coming May 30th. The Phoenician Scheme is the story of a family and a family business, starring Benicio del Toro, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, Tom Hanks, Benedict Cumberbatch, Rupert Friend, Michael Cera. Yeah, Michael Cera in his first ever movie. And some of the tweets were very funny about him being finally in a Wes Anderson movie. It was like Wes Anderson discovered fire today. It's just like the perfect combination of dudes. Jeffrey Wright is here, Rupert Friend, Richard Ayoade, Riz Ahmed. Big cast as always for the Wes Anderson movies. This looked good. This looked good. I mean, I'm a pretty big Anderson head, I would say. I like almost all of them. And this looked right up my alley. So hopefully,
I was just about half a second in, and I was like, "Oh, this is Wes Anderson, isn't it?" And then I closed out, looked to the comments. The top one is like, Wes Anderson has like somehow made a film that is more Wes Anderson-y than like any. Like, it was something like funny, but I thought this looked very good.
same.
I think even if his movies are such a like visual experience that even if not even just like even the actors like just such a crazy cast for all of his movies. Like for example, Asteroid City was super pumped to see that. Didn't really land for me, but I was incredibly appreciative of the art itself, even though I didn't find like a lot of personal value in the movie. I was incredibly appreciative that, you know, first off, like the movie was made, but that like movies are coming out that are like this, you know, and that I feel like it's easy in today's like culture. Everything needs to be like so fast that like something like a Wes Anderson movie like may not fit in, you know, but like we keep getting them and I'm happy that we do.
Comment is every time I think Wes Anderson has out Wes Anderson himself, he goes ahead and Wes Anderson's even more Wes Anderson-y than before. It's astounding.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? This is the stuff that I think is so good for theaters too. It's like directors with distinct styles.
Yeah.
Also, like I'm I think opposite of you there, Jack. I liked Asteroid City quite a bit. I did not really like The French Dispatch. That one didn't hit that well.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know. I really hope this is good. Also, I really loved his shorts over the last little bit.
Those were great. Henry Sugar was awesome.
Yeah, The Rat Catcher was good. So, yeah, I'm really pumped for this one. It's so good. And we're not too long to wait. We have to wait like a month.
Yeah, and I want to say, like, I didn't hate Asteroid. I mean, I gave it like 3 stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, really appreciate this. It wasn't like something I like hated, but it wasn't really something I was just like really into. So,
yes,
hoping that maybe this experience will be a little bit different, but either way, I'll be happy to watch a Wes Anderson movie in theaters.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, Mission Impossible. New trailer we got. This baby looks electric. I love how they're not showing too much stuff. We got a little bit more of the underwater, him jumping off of the that plane into the water. He had his own aircraft carrier. I also loved the callbacks to the other earlier movies of like he broke into Langley, like he did the they didn't really talk about the Burj Khalifa, but like the Kremlin bombing, which was like they're supposed to kill him, and then breaking into the secure meeting. It's just so great of like Ethan Hunt. Like when you fail, you have to call him. It's so perfect.
Got to see this twice in theaters this weekend. Obviously, at each of the movies, or at the Amateur and Warfare. So like, just goosebumps every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely cannot wait for this movie to come out. We keep talking about it, and it deservingly deserves. It deserves all the respect and high praise that we can give it. So,
agreed.
I remember I saw this movie. I did a rewatch. My entire family like went to the movie theaters, like my grandparents included. We were on vacation, but like I can't remember the last time that my family did that. So excited for this like massive movie to come to the screen. And then also Tremel Tillman, my goat.
Yeah, dude. Clearly, Tom Cruise has an Apple TV Plus subscription. Like, this guy loves Apple TV. With him and the lady from Ted Lasso.
Yes,
she shows up for 2 seconds.
Yes, Hannah Weddington.
Yeah,
am I right? Yes, great.
Right,
love her. She's awesome. She's so great. And she's also going to be in the Lilo and Stitch movies. It's going to be a great weekend for her.
Yes. Yeah.
But the point I'm making is, I don't know if we noticed this, but Mr. Milchick, especially in that season finale, he kind of gave us a glimpse of what he would look like in a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
He dropped the file, and then he went. He just ran off, and at that point, can we assume that maybe he had seen Tom Cruise run in person, and he said, "You know what? I'm
seen Tom Cruise.
I'm going to do my best to practice this." So, even if he's like on the screen for like 5 seconds, at one point, I'll probably see this movie like 2 or 3 times at least. I might just go and show up with my Mr. Milchick shirt at one of the screenings. I just feel like it'd be just why not, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
should show
I
some
also
love.
did love when Ethan puts on the mask to go like talk to the entity. Insane,
Yeah.
insane. He's gonna like go into the entity and just like mess it up from the inside because he's just so perfect. God, I love it. Also, this is just another example of how the Mission Impossible movies are about how Tom Cruise makes movies. Like he's just anti-AI, and he's like, we got to do it ourselves. Like that we need to do it with people, and then in the end, it's gonna be people and our humans overcome the AI.
Yeah, I'm so
very,
in.
very pumped. Very pumped.
I'm also pissed. I looked it up, but it's Hannah wedding him.
Oh,
So
did you get it wrong?
close. Yeah,
Sorry.
I did like TON or TEN instead
Sorry.
of HAM.
Yeah, it's
So,
okay. That's okay.
Pretty tough, but yeah.
Is it Daredevil time?
it is Daredevil time. That episode.
So did you notice? So this episode is interesting. So when the show like was getting rebooted, they had like an original idea, made most of it, and then they realized this probably is not the path we want to go down. So they brought in 2 new people to come in and retool it. So the people who made the first episode of the season and then 8 and 9 are the people who are actually taking over and going to do season 2,
Wow.
which is why 8 basically ignores everything that came before it, and it's just like, let's just go back to episode 1 and let's just like pick up those pieces from there, which I thought was pretty funny and great. But this episode was incredible episode. Loved it.
I want to make Bullseye. I don't know a ton about his character, but he can like kill anyone with like anything. Okay, yeah,
That's his whole thing.
That's what I thought.
He
it
just
was.
he can use anything as a deadly weapon.
And he basically just used Daredevil to just break his tooth out so he could just.
Well, that
Right.
was just kind of like a happy accident. I think.
Okay.
I mean, he was gonna kind of find a way out, but like he could use his tooth as a weapon because he's just that good.
Yeah, this was really good episode. I think the ending was just cliffhanger.
Really, really great.
Leads us into the season finale. I mean, I guess full spoilers, obviously, but like Fisk is Bullseye's there to take Fisk out, and Daredevil takes the bullet for him. Looks like it's like could be top shoulder, could be right above the heart. Who knows? But
Yeah.
it looked like definitely a tough shot to take. But there's the scene where he hops in and the dance, and he dances
So
with
great.
Vanessa.
I know you killed Foggy.
That was sweet. And I'm inevitably waiting. And obviously, Fisk kind of like alluded to it. He's like, you know that he has a love for vigilantes.
Yes.
And it's just, yeah.
So
I'm so pumped for like that reveal to like fully, to like come to fruition, that she kind of realizes that he is Daredevil. Because at some point, let's just be real, he's taken over the past couple of weeks, he's taken a lot of punches. And how many punches is this guy gonna take until she finally is like, you know what? Also, first off, I've been seeing this on the internet a lot recently too. It's like Daredevil, that guy's not blind.
he's super blind.
The women that he is pulling,
Oh,
come
yeah.
on,
No,
Come on,
he's got it.
let's be real. Like this guy, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no, that was like a big joke in the original show that Foggy would get pissed about. He was like, "How do you do it every time? Like, I don't get it." But yeah, no, that's very funny. But no, this show, I mean, I think this was a clear step up from what we've gotten. I think the majority of the
Sure.
season. And it's funny when you go back to the Netflix, Daredevil rabbit hole. Turns out it's real good. So real strong stuff there, and I'm very excited for next week. I think what's even better about all of it is like it's very character driven. Like we're not just doing stuff to do stuff. Like it actually is character driven. It's pointed. It's based on what these characters would do and they'd act on. And I feel like that's such a low bar to ask for. But like,
Yeah.
let's be honest. The last couple of years of what we've gotten, I'd like this. Which, stop feeding me slop, put some hard work in, and give me some good stuff here.
I'm excited I think it's like it was leaked from the season 1, or maybe it's season 2, but I think it is season 1. But like John Bernthal will be
Oh yeah, Punisher coming back for
in
his
the
final
flesh. I'm so pumped. I
Yeah.
really haven't gotten to see his
Yes.
character work, so I'm excited to see him back. But
episode. Agreed.
cannot say
Yeah.
enough.
All right.
But Gandolfini's,
Ooh,
not gonna be
good
the
art.
first time we
Good
talk
art.
about him. He's very slimy.
He is
very
slimy
slimy.
in like a great way.
in a great way. And it's so funny to see him in this movie. And then I didn't
know he was in Warfare.
I didn't either. He pops up in Warfare. I was like, oh.
Liam Neeson.
And I was like, my younger brother started watching The Sopranos. I was like, hey, it's like Tony's like real life kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think it was cool to see him in Daredevil earlier this week, and then obviously in Warfare, but we'll get to that later. But good episode. Pumped for the finale.
Very excited. All right, let's do some movie reviews. So let's start with Drop, since I was the only one to catch this in the theaters. It dropped and I caught it. This guy.
That was good.
Yeah, we're back. A widowed mother's first date in years takes a terrifying turn as she's bombarded by anonymous threatening messages on her phone during their upscale dinner, leaving her questioning if her charming date is behind the harassment. Starring White Lotus's Megan Fanny and the gentleman who would like to play Batman besides myself, Brandon Skillner. He's actually pretty good here. This movie was honestly a big surprise for me. I was very impressed. I'm not going to go full spoilers because I do recommend you guys do see it, so I'm not going to jump fully into it. I gave it 3 stars. Honestly, when you hear the premise of like, hey guys, we're going to do the airdrop thriller, it's like, ooh, okay. I guess so. But this honestly worked pretty well. I think it was probably the best version of what could have been for this. And it was like a fun time out at the theater. Like, this is the kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, like we're getting 70s out of 100, baby, and like we're cooking with it a little bit. So I'm very, very into this. I think the concept was great. Honestly, I think the way that they handled it was great because I do have an issue with like tech in movies. You know what I mean? Where they do like we're going so tech. But like it was done well. And like honestly, the concept was pretty interesting, and like the story at the end of the day was decent. It kept me, on my toes in like a pretty reasonable way, and yeah, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit.
Honestly, it's been good to hear the positive reviews for this movie because I remember when the trailer first came out and we saw it and it was just like we were just kind of like, what? Yeah. Like I remember, really,
yeah, like it was actually like well lit and staged, which like I thought was pretty strong. Like the whole staging of that restaurant was like it's pretty impressive.
Like you wanted to eat there, like it looked nice.
Yeah, like it looked nice, and like also like the layout was very well explained. So like when she they're obviously looking around the room to see who's like airdropping all this stuff to her, like like you have a very good understanding of the geography of the room, which I think was strong.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
It's also a pretty fancy place that I would go eat at if I had the money to eat there.
Well, hopefully I can go check it out. But love that it's getting good reviews.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Big recommend from me over here. I gave it a 70 out of 100. Definitely a fun night out at the theaters. A good date movie, I think, also because it's about a first date. And also an all-time beard mustache combo in this movie. The gentleman who is possibly Batman, great beard mustache that I wish I could grow. So shout out that guy. But yeah, speaking of mustaches though, Warfare, great mustache in Warfare, which we'll get to here in a second. But yeah, Drop, end of the day, good one. Liked it quite a bit. Original movies, baby. We're back. All right, do you want to do Warfare next or the Amateur?
Let's do the Amateur. I feel like I have more to say about Warfare than I do the Amateur. I don't know if you feel the same. Or...
Deal. Yeah, I'm pretty similar boat as you. All right. The Amateur. Let me read the synopsis here. This is basically just a big episode of that show that Rami Malek was on for like a decade. But when supervisors of the CIA refuse to take action after his wife is killed in a London terrorist attack, a decoder must take matters into his own hands. Starring Rami Malek, Richard Brosnahan, and Lawrence Fishburne, with a brief cameo from John Bernthal, where he's called the Bear in this movie, which is very funny.
He was just the Amateur and the Accountant actually take place in the same universe. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What do you think about it?
I liked it. I wouldn't say like it never pushed past like the 3-star level for me, but I wouldn't consider that a negative. Like I would say like that was pretty, like I liked it more than I thought I was. I'm not a big Rami Malek guy, so I was like, from that side, I think it was, kind of just but I think like it was pretty decent. I think the story worked well. I actually loved a lot of the bits of like him dealing with like the loss of his wife, where like she would keep coming back. I think that actually worked decently well. I do wish they dived a little bit deeper into the tech of it all, which 2 tech movies back to back. But like they kept saying how good he was with all this stuff, and like he did like a few things, and I think like like it was impressive. But I don't know. I think they could have used his strengths a little bit better, because I think they kind of they teetered a little bit. Like it was like, hey, you know, he has these strengths like outside of the usual spy stuff. So like, let's use those. But I don't think they ever pushed into those too much. Or it's like, all right, is he going to learn to become more of a badass? I just don't think they ever pushed that way enough either. Like they kept him kind of in the middle, which clearly a choice. But like, I don't know. I kind of wish they jumped into either one a little bit more. But Rachel Brosnahan, good here. You know, very limiting role.
Yeah. I was honestly really shocked. I think this movie did a really good job, especially with like, not the action sequences, or I guess I would say like the action sequences were fun and engaging and creative. Obviously, you have the massive pool spill down that you got in the trailer, and then you have like the big like blast. But I think the other two, like the one where the girl is, I mean, full spoilers obviously, but where one of the girls is like at her asthma treatment.
Oh yeah, the pollen
like
one.
Appointment. That one was insane. Like he just
good.
pours a bunch of pollen in there, and it just starts. Like she's about to like suffocate her with pollen, which is just insane. And then he's like at the flower shop, and she's like, "Oh, what have you done?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing yet."
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I thought there were some really funny parts of this movie. But then I think like there's like unexpected kind of like heart that I found, which why I think I liked it a little bit more. Like why I kind of gave it like the 3.5 stars as opposed to like a 3. Specifically, like I really like the sequences where he's like sitting in the room and she would just like appear like he was like with her in the moment. I really liked those. And then I'm like still I really love the scene where him and the lady that he'd like chatted with on the they meet up and they're on the beach and they're talking through it. Like obviously her husband passed away and her and his wife, and they're kind of talking about that. And she says, you know, like nothing can prepare you for like the silence in your life and like going through your daily routine. Obviously I can't remember exactly what she said, but I feel like it was enough to where I still feel like that like kind of like struck a somewhat like emotional chord in me. And I feel like that scene was just really beautiful and it really stood out to me. And she's just saying like, even the sounds that like you hate, it just breaks you because you just never hear those anymore. So I, as someone who is incredibly like sensitive to sound, like someone's like chomping, you know, well, I mean, we'll get to this with Warfare, incredibly silent. There's some sequences in the movie where it's dead quiet. Some dude is just getting a handful of popcorn and just chomping away. Drove me crazy. But I'm just, as someone who I feel like I live in a constant world of like that stuff kind of drives me crazy. I think it took a different perspective for me where it's like, you know, there's sounds that you hear throughout your daily life and it's like that you can, you know, attribute to people in your life. But I think like just trying to enjoy it all, even if it's like, I don't know, just being present with that person rather than focusing on the thing that's, you know, could be frustrating to you. So that, I feel like that's why I really like that scene. And it was very short and it wasn't, and I like the shot that they gave at the end where they're both like sitting on the beach, kind of like their backs to us. I thought that was really great. But early contender, one of my favorite like scenes of the year. It doesn't have a lot to contend with, but I really did. I loved it.
It was good. No, it was definitely a very big pleasant surprise for me. I mean, it's my third movie of the year so far. It's just ahead of Paddington Bear and Drop, which I might move Drop up a little bit if I'm thinking about it more. I really did enjoy Drop, so I'm kind of debating those all around a little bit. But
I have this at
really
3 right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which honestly, did you give it 3.5 stars?
Yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars. I think out of 100, I'd probably give it like 70.
70 out of 100.
Yeah, I mean it's weird though because like
I gave it the same thing, which is funny.
70?
And I gave it that I have 3 stars at the 70, and you had 3.5 for the.
My like system. It's like the system though. It's like more or less. I'm thinking like, you know, for example, like a 70 to me is like 3.5 stars. You know what I'm saying? It's like a 7.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
think
like
about it the same way.
like 2 stars is literally like 40 to 36, or like no, not 30 to 46, but it's
36
like
to 44.
36 to 40 or
45.
I'm totally blanking, but you know what I'm saying? Like 3 stars is like 56 to 64. So I don't know. Maybe I apologize. My math right now is like terrible, but like if it's like a 55 or something, like I'll round up to like 60, which would give it like a 3 star. Like that's just like my thinking on this. I really don't do like out of 100 a lot. I don't know why. It's just like feels like a lot of extra numbers for me, and I just like I like the star rating much more in my opinion. But yeah, 70 is like where I'd place this movie at. Enjoyed it. Would highly recommend going to see it. I know my dad was like, "How was The Amateur?" And I was like, "Gotta go check it out."
Yeah, it's definitely a dude's rock kind of movie. Also, I never feel like he jumps to the level of like a badass though. But I think that works well for this character.
100%. And I think what I was sitting in this movie, and I was saying this the entire time. A working man wanted to try and do this. They wanted to try and build up their story and make it better,
Yes.
and like still have the action pieces and still have like character growth and stuff. And it just was poorly executed. The Amateur is what I'm not going to say what Working Man should have been, but like Working Man tried so hard to like add the story and like still have the action, and the action was like awesome, but like there wasn't a lot of action in The Amateur, but I still found myself like captivated and like on like almost on the edge of my seat for the entire runtime. So I did like the Jason Bourne. I do like the Jason Bourne movies, and I feel like this was very much aligned with
Yes, it
those
was
types
much
of movies. And
more similar to Bourne than I think we've gotten in the last like decade.
so it was really fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it.
Nice. All right, let's do Warfare. So Warfare synopsis here: platoon of Navy SEALs embark on a dangerous mission in Ramadi, Iraq, with the chaos and brotherhood of a war retold through the memories of the event. This movie takes place in real time. It's co-directed by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza. Ray Mendoza, obviously a character in the movie, a man who lived through this. Ray Mendoza is also a writer with Alex Garland on this, and this was, I thought, incredible. Shout out Alex Garland, by the way, for being my second to least favorite movie of last year. It's now my favorite movie of the year this year so far.
Yeah.
Big comeback player of the year, Alex Garland, for me. So huge there. This movie's cast is stacked. I'll read it real quick. Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, Michael Gandolfini, because we already kind of touched on a little bit. Kit Connor's in here. Noah Centineo shows up for brief moments here and there. Trying to think who else is in this
Anthony
movie.
Melton.
Yeah, Anthony Melton's in here. Tefero Woon Atai, sorry for butchering that, plays Ray Mendoza himself. But yeah, I mean, just a very, very well done movie. I'd like to, if we could, I'd like to talk about the movie first and then kind of talk about some of the criticism with it, if we could.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Let's do the movie first. What did you think overall, Mr. Jack?
Unreal the entire time. I'm like sitting there expecting, first, I don't know, obviously don't want to ruin, but again, I'm sorry, full spoilers. Like,
yeah, I think we're gonna go for
this again.
Listen, this happened. It was a real story that happened. It was a real,
Yeah.
people that experienced. Obviously, it was a long time ago, but
I think and I hate to kind of get into it, but it's like I feel like war films, you sit in it and you're like, all right, where's the action? Like what's going on here? And you're kind of waiting for that to happen. And in this movie, for the first kind of 30 minutes, you're like waiting. And they're building up this tense, event that's about to take place and what's going to happen. And you slowly kind of get introduced to the characters, learn their roles. First off, the opening of this movie was just, it was electric.
Yeah, I was pumped.
I mean, I think for me personally, I think it shows we'll get in that later. The opening was good. I liked it. I thought it was a very unique choice. And it seemed like it was a very personal choice as well, which I thought was neat, especially with like Ray Mendoza kind of like using the like just memories. Loved how that opened up the movie. The show of force or something like that. I'm blanking on it.
Yeah,
like
where they just.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I hear a lot of people like really praising the sound design. It was very, very good. I think the camera work was great as well. I think it was perfectly framed to be like, it feels like a documentary in the sense that you're there with these individuals, you know, you're literally with them the entirety of this 90 minutes and there's no time jumps. It's amazing. And there's no specific like character arcs that you really see through here, but you more or less see.
I think there's two big ones.
Okay. All right. Well, personally, I didn't think there was anything like insane. I think there's like, this gets more into like, not like the problems with the movie, but like, I don't know. I just want to explain the movie and then like later, I guess I can talk about like what movies normally do or how they normally feel.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. So like,
just do it.
I feel like obviously like the war movies, it's like, so obviously there's the hero and there's the strong leader and they're like, you know what, like this is the guy and they make it very, you know, they glamorize, you know, the crap out of this guy and that he is like the leader. He's the one making the decisions. And like Will Poulter's character, I loved what they really did with him and the fact that like real life, like that's not always what it looks like. You know, you have the leader and there are moments where you really sit there and he's like, dude, I'm not right. They check him for like blood several times. He's truly just trying to feel out this experience and what just took place. And yes. I think this is what this movie does so well in the fact that it shows you a real life event that took place and there's like nothing glamorous about it. Mm-hmm. They literally like let you sit there and experience all the feelings, all the hardship, all the destruction, even, you know, the family that's living in the house. You feel for them. You feel for everyone that's involved in this situation. And I think that's what this movie did so well. And I really love just like the realness and authenticity that this movie brought. But super intense. Holy cow. I was expecting something similar to that, but by far one of my favorite, I don't know, I'd probably put up there one of my favorite war movies.
I would agree.
And I think what makes it so good is the fact that, again, going back to it, it's like we often get like American Sniper, you know, like I like the movie. It's a good movie, but it like glamorizes the whole situation. And it's like, oh, like they use like the action and like the sniping to essentially like, and obviously there's tough situations that take place where like there's hard decisions that have to be made. But like it's in the end, it almost feels more like a glamorization of war as to where I feel like me personally, I like All Quiet on the Western Front. It's like one of my favorite war movies. It's up there. Honestly, it might be like number one for me because I cannot stop thinking about that movie, but it shows like the effects of war and like how people looked at the war heading into it. And then basically by the end of the movie, they just have a completely different outlook. Yeah. I just went on a rant there. Totally sorry, but like,
no,
what was your experience with this movie?
I went to an early screening on Wednesday night. That was in IMAX. I think definitely the way to see this movie is IMAX. And I mean, I knew like a little bit about it from like the trailers and everything, but like I really didn't know a whole lot about it. And I was blown away by it. I think the sound design, like you said, is incredible. I think that the whole framing of it all is really well done. The staging where you understand the apartment they're in and how like limited the space is, the street as well. I think that it was just really well done where you get the personalities of all these guys relatively quickly. And you understand like who they are pretty fast. I think I 100% agree with you as well. Like, I don't think it picks a side necessarily. Like you really do understand everyone's opinions and their what they experienced here. I think honestly, like the biggest thing too is just like the real time aspect of it all. Like you felt the whole time, like this is what they actually had to do. Like this is the moments they were in. I did, think it was interesting too. Like the different personalities, how they clash, how they connect, like how, we can train all we want. And then once it really happens, like how you actually react is very different than I think you would expect you would. Will Poulter's character being a great example of that. But another great example of that I think too is that guy who was just like hyped up, like, oh, you're fine. It's just, you're like, I think, but there are people that are like that. Like, obviously this is real, but like, there are people that I think even in your real life, you can be like, yeah, I think that's probably how that person would react to this. And I think it was so well done. And I think that, the quote unquote realism, was just like it just visceral, which I think was a strong and the right choice to do. I was very, very impressed with this. I think this was like it's my favorite movie of the year so far. Like I said, I gave it 84 out of 100. I really did love it. I think that especially what I really like too is the ending where it kind of shows how like the seriousness of the training they put into it, like to make it as real as possible. I think was really strong. But yeah, overall, just a very, very good movie that I enjoyed quite a bit, and a very interesting story as well that I think needs to be told, for sure.
I love the little bit at the end as well, just showing the members of
That team, yeah.
the team and I just like paying respect to their experience and allowing them to like process their trauma in this
Yes.
way by sharing their story. I think it was so neat too. Obviously, like brought him on set and it's like have like all the guys like meet him and talk, and I think that was just so unique. And then also like at the end, just like chef's kiss, like showing them actually like work on the movie, and like I think it was like Ray Mendoza just showing them like this is like how we like exit the building. You know what I'm saying? Like it just was cool, and I honestly I wasn't expecting that. I think it was a very powerful movie for me personally, just because I feel like again I hate to like keep going back to it, but it's like Saving Private Ryan was like great movie. I love that movie. But like I think this movie showed like a whole different aspect of like what war looks like, and especially like this war being like so recent in our lifetime.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about like the quote unquote controversy of this movie for a second.
Yeah.
So when I like a movie quite a bit, I'll go on Letterboxd and I'll read the other reviews. And the number one review right now is from this person really like really negative about it. Really saying it's like a military propaganda piece. Like it's like, there's no there's no characterization for the Iraqi families and like the people there, and like the fact that we probably shouldn't even have been there to begin with. And like, well, yeah, like you could believe all that. And like, I think there's some, obviously like some interesting points there, especially like about like, we could do the humanization of both sides. That is a different story than the story told here. Like that story is not what these gentlemen experienced. And I think too, like we have the ability now, obviously, to use hindsight where like we can go back and be like, yeah, probably invading Iraq after 9/11 was probably not the best choice. And like the way we went about it clearly was like a different choice than maybe what should have been done. And especially like, just the way all about it. Like you can go and debate that all day long. People have debated it for years and years after. We're still debating it to this day. But like that is not this story, because that's not what these gentlemen experienced. And yeah, like if you want to use hindsight, that's a different story you're trying to tell. But also like after 9/11, there was a whole influx of men and women who saw what happened on that day and were like, I need to defend my country. I need to never let that happen again. And that is the story here of these people. Like where, yeah, they were in a point like lied to by their government of like where they probably should have been versus where they were. But like that is not what they knew at the time, and like that's not what they experienced at the time. And so I think it's a disservice to this movie to look at it with that lens. I think that if you look at it afterwards, that lens, and like critique the war as a whole, that's a different story. But like critiquing the movie for what it is, I think is wrong to do based on this. I also do think that like it doesn't glorify what these people are doing. Like it doesn't glorify. 100%. Like it doesn't make any of them like badasses, which I think is interesting. Like, and I think is obviously it was real, but like these were just men who thought that they were doing what was right to defend their country, because that's what they were told. And then once they get into it, they realize this is not what they thought they were signing up for. And it's pretty clear right away, like that none of them, I mean, besides like one or two of them, none of them like lock in, quote unquote, like to get out of it. Like, do you think we'd see in like more traditional action movie?
I even feel like, especially in like war movies, you're so used to seeing people get shot.
Yeah.
Really don't get to see anyone get shot here.
No.
Like grenades, explosives, that's like the majority of this, experience and in this movie. But like I think I saw some comment and it was like talking about like saying this is like Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't think
I've ever played a game of Call of Duty where I'm literally just sitting in the same space trying to help heal someone or trying to
Yeah.
evacuate. I just don't think and not only that, you're so used to seeing people get shot. When they're shooting, you just notice they're just kind of like shooting wherever just to shoot. Like they're not
like they're like do a lot of cover fire.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cover fire. I mean, no one. I genuinely don't think anyone gets shot in this movie. Maybe there's like one or two that I missed. If I went back and watched it, I could see. But like, no shots are fired where anyone dies.
Yeah, and like so, like the 5th top review on Letterboxd right now. I'm gonna just read the first sentence here, and I think this is just a very wrong. So it says, a soulless, insidious piece of pseudo-realistic propaganda, a film that postures as an anti-war statement while of reveling in the exact kind of mindless, fetishized destruction that makes war look like an adrenaline-fueled power fantasy rather than devastating, soul-eroding atrocity that it really is. I'm sorry. Did we watch different movies? Because like I don't think at any point in that it's never like nothing ever seems positive in this. Like there's no moment where you're like, heck yeah, the boys are doing it. Like I think the whole time you're like they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I mean, even in the point, like I think sure at the beginning of the movie, you have all the guys like jumping around, like having a good time, like they're all with their guns. Like sure, if you just watch that scene, you're like, oh, like yeah, like this is like propaganda or whatever. But like, dude. You see someone literally get blown in half. You see 2 people that are probably never going to be able to walk for the rest of their lives.
Like several one guy like lost his leg that like they show in the final moments there. Like
I don't understand because like when I think of like propaganda, I'm like, okay, I get like Top Gun Maverick. That can get people to enlist 100%. Like the original Top Gun, it had that effect on people. Like sure. Like, if you want to call that propaganda, fine by me.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's watching this and is like, I want to sign up. Like this, I don't think there's any moment of that in this movie. And like, even for them, like the review kind of goes on to say like, oh, it's it's a glorification. Like it's like things where these men clearly are like they're having like bravado to be there. It's like, when did that ever happen? Like the whole time. The whole thing is they just want to go home. And like I think a lot of them realize too, like they shouldn't be there throughout. Like there's a clear line in the sand where, and also it's interesting too, is like, all right, if your critique is that we shouldn't have been there. And like your critique is that, this was an atrocity. They do show that because the general or whoever it is won't give approval for them to get air vac'd out of there. And then they have to lie just to get the cars back to pick them up. And so like if that is your negative for it all, it's like they do that. Like they do show that like the structure of the war is wrong on both sides for like what these men had to deal with. Like so I don't get I understand people's criticism of it. I just don't think you can criticize the movie for that. You can criticize the war in and of itself for that. But like by putting that onto this movie, I think it's just wrong. I think it's wrong, and I think it's coming into it with a preconceived notion of what you want out of it, where it's just like you do you.
Like if we want to sit in a room and listen to the individuals that lived in that house, I'm sure they can make a movie about that. And I'm sure that, at some point in history, someone will, or someone may already have done that. But like at this story is to tell the experience of these men and their experience. But I think the additions that they had with the people that live there, I mean, you have the mom literally screaming at them, like, why? Like they come into the house and they take their house over. They have no intention of hurting them. But at the same time, it's like they took over their house, like they broke into their house. They have a bunch of guns. Like that's traumatic no matter like. So you feel for this family, and it's like all over the board. It's just like, it's a mess, and no one wins in this movie. Everyone walks out of this and it's like there's destruction. I think what was great, the first shot we get when they're headed into, set up kind of like camp, is you get like the street and it's dead quiet.
Yes.
At the end, you get it. It's just everything's like blown up. There's like a leg sitting in the middle of the street. Super tense. Like you could hear like a pin drop, like in my theater when that thing ended. Everyone was dead quiet and was like, wow. Like I'm gonna wait till I get out of the theater to like it just felt wrong to speak after everything that we had just witnessed.
Yeah, I don't. And that's the thing too. Like this the top review right now has a sentence that says, "In the real offense, however, is the implication as a story about bravery and heroism. Let's be clear: the Iraq War produced no American heroes." I'm sorry, like that could be your opinion, but like if you watch this and you don't think that these men, maybe shouldn't have been there, but that's the government's fault. That's not these men's fault. And also, like they did save each other, and like they did do things that were heroic. Like
Sure.
I find it frustrating people come into movies with preconceived notions of things and then don't judge the movie for what it is, but for what they think it should have the narrative context
Sure.
of saying. Because like, yeah, you could be like, all right, I think it missed here because it didn't do these things. But like if that was never like the point of the movie, then that's a different story. Like that's where I think too, like when Charlie and I reviewed Civil War, where it's like, clearly in that movie, Alex Garland was making a statement about the different sides of our political sphere right now. But our big critique was that he didn't go further on either side. He was too safe in the middle, or he was just like, like, hey, they're pretty bad over there. And it's like, all right, we didn't get really nuanced with it. But he's attempting to make that statement from the jump. This movie doesn't attempt to make that statement from the jump at all. So it's like, where's the critique here? And I mean, you're what, you're allowed to do whatever you want. I just think it's silly.
No, I mean, I agree. I'm glad that we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I think again, people's preconceived notions heading in the movies. It's just like when I see this movie, I think part of it after watching that movie, it's like, man, I'm like, it's great that there were individuals there to help these men get out. But I more or less see this movie as like a movie of like terror than I see as like, like heroism.
I almost feel this is almost like anti-war, which is
that's like where that's honestly where I sit with this.
It's so silly. Like that's where I think people come in with the notion. It's like, let the movie tell you its story, and then afterwards, you'll be like, I disagree because of ABCD. But like, if you came into this and you're like, this was Call of Duty and this was pro-war, it's like, I just think you watched something different than we watched.
Sure. And I think at the end of the day, you can try and get people to feel as much as you want through the movie. And I think Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza did a phenomenal job of just letting your audience like fill in the blanks, and like nothing is really explained. Like when they're doing all the, like the military jargon, I have no idea what they're doing. You know, like they didn't have somebody like this was a true like experience. Like it felt, again, camera work, like it felt like a documentary. It feels like you're here with them. And I honestly, I can't recommend this movie enough. If you have any interest in just like a good movie, like this is a great movie in theaters. This is the first great movie of 2025. This stands like heels, over the other movies that we've seen this year. Yes, I think it has so much purpose, and it has so much, like love for, I would even say for like all sides, and like giving a true testimony of what this experience looked like. Unfortunately, I think the criticism is unnecessary on some points, but no matter what you're going to do, I think the experiences that some people have had heading into this movie, you just can't take that away. And I think that's just how they're going to feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, at the end of the day, you're allowed your opinion, and like, what I think your opinion's wrong, but like, you're still allowed to have it. But I just think having I think a lot of these, your mind is made up before you even see it. And I just think that's wrong. But you know what? Hey, we're just a podcast, and those are people who have the number one liked review on Letterboxd. So who is correct? But yeah.
I will say for like the acting, I think it was like Joseph Quinn was great. Like Will Poulter was great. Specifically like the scene where Will Poulter's sitting in the family's room, just like stunned, like Charles Melton walks in, kind of like approaches him and kind of like talks it down. I thought the acting was great. And I think for a movie like this, like the acting needed to be good, because I think if the acting wasn't there, then this could very much be perceived like the wrong way. And I think too, it's like you have this idea that like the soldiers are like almost like robots, Yeah. In a sense that they're like sent off to do their mission, and they have no heart and they have no feelings. And but I think like after they are shook to their core, like this experience, I think you're able to see like the humanness in all of them, as to where like I think in that first like 20 minutes they kind of just feel almost robotic, you know, in the way that they go through their actions. And there's even points where like they ask like Will Poulter, like, what do you want us to do? And he's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what we're supposed to do, you know, as to where the other group comes in with Charles Melton, how they haven't experienced the same thing they have. And they're still able to function at that almost like robotic level. Like, hey, boom, we need to do this. Let's go. And I think it was very, like, obviously beyond important that those individuals are able to do that. But I think showing that, like,
yes, and I think that's
the humanness of
this
this story
is like you don't, it doesn't click in until you experience it yourself. Where like Charles Melton in that group, like they didn't experience like their friends like having to go through that. And like once they show up, it's like, well, it's already happening. Like we didn't watch it. We didn't have to pull them in like back to the like we got to lock in and figure it out from here. I think that was like a big thing as well. Is like you think you can do it until it happens, and then it's like, can you actually do it? But all right.
Sorry, I have like a couple.
No,
sorry.
No, you're good.
So
keep going.
Like I don't know about the gore for you, but like the gore in this like kind of freaked me out. Like,
it was just very
like,
real.
It like I said, like I'm not comparing this like Saving Private Ryan, but like Saving Private Ryan is like, you know, the whole D-Day, like the beaches of Normandy, like in a very like incredible scene. But I think like this just has, and especially how you stick with these characters and how you felt this story, like you've kind of gone on this story with them. But not only that, like the blood and like the makeup and like how they presented this on screen, it looked so like, I don't know if I've seen a movie where like the blood and like the bones have looked like that real.
Yes. And I think there's like the levels of like, there's like the movie, you know, our usual movie level where it's like over the top the most, or like, you know, it's like so much where you're like, whoa, but like it's almost subdued here in a way that I think makes it more impactful. That I don't think I've seen really since like The Revenant.
Yeah. No, but I mean, overall, like I'd probably give this movie like a 91.
Yeah.
Really liked it. And I think it's like heads above.
You give it 91.
Mickey 17, which is like my number 2. But yeah, sorry, I feel bad. Chuck has just been.
No.
Chuck is just.
This is what happens when you don't watch the movies. Here, let's see if we can get him back.
There he is.
I
will say I have a point to add about Joseph Quinn when Charlie hops on. But like Joseph Quinn, it's so cool. Like my introduction to Joseph Quinn was like season 1 or the most recent season of Stranger Things, and I think that was like most people's introduction to him. But like seeing his rise to just like stardom over the past few years has been so awesome. Like seeing him go from, you know, Eddie being the guy from Eddie and Stranger Things to having like building like a pretty solid filmography for himself over the past couple of years. And like now he's going to be one of the Beatles. I mean, I think it's just, he's great in this movie. Like he's going to be the Human Torch in Gladiator. He's in Quiet Place Day One, which wasn't necessarily my favorite movie, but he was, you know, one of the best parts about it. But kind of seeing him like rise to fame has been really awesome. And I think seems to be a very like nice human being. So
yeah, seems like a good dude.
Pretty happy for him. Yeah.
You know, the other Stranger Things cast are just kicking themselves. Like, really, the big one of all of us.
He showed up for like one season. Everybody's like, oh.
Yeah, it's Joseph Quinn and then Millie Bobby Brown, who hates movies. They're like the 2 stars. Everyone's just like, oh, come on. But yeah. All right. Anything else on anything, boys?
I guess David Harbour. I mean, David Harbour's like, he's done pretty well over the past couple of years. I mean, obviously. With Marvel.
Oh, and I guess you're, what's your name for Beetlejuice? Never forget.
Am I blanking?
Yeah, the main chick from Beetlejuice. Winona Ryder is the mom.
Oh yeah, dude. That was like stupid blank.
Yeah, she was already famous.
Yeah, I think she was already pretty famous.
But
obviously Stranger Things elevated that. Charlie, you're going to see Sinners this week, right?
No, Charlie's gonna go see Sneaks. He's gonna go see the Sneaker movie.
No, Charlie, you have to see Sinners, man.
I'll
Dude,
see
Chuck, you gotta see Sinners.
Oh wait, I'm out of town. Oh no.
Wait.
Oh,
Where you
When do you go
headed?
to town? When do you go to town?
I leave Tuesday night.
No, hang on. Remember though, this week because of Easter. We're not recording till Sunday night, are we? Are we not? So you said you
I don't
can do
know.
Sunday morning?
Either way, I think this is like logistics discussion after the pod.
Yeah,
But
Chuck, you gotta see
Sinners,
bro. You gotta see
Sinners is gonna be electric.
Jack, are you gonna try to go see
I-
it on the 70 millimeter?
We'll see. I got a pretty busy, especially with like Little Five coming up. I
Okay.
gotta get some work done. So like driving, 2 hours and then obviously seeing like a 2 hour movie isn't necessarily ideal. But I really do want to see it in 70 millimeter. I think it'd be an awesome experience, and this has slowly become one of my like most anticipated of the year.
Yeah.
But it's safe to say cinema is here.
Original
Warfare
cinema.
was
Original.
Amateur was great. Sounds like Drop was good.
Drop was
But
good.
Sinners, then we have The Accountant. I mean, holy cow, we are just, and then you got the Thunderbolts. I mean, it is just up from here.
Yeah, the only real week we have nothing is going to be the week of the 5th through the 9th of May. And then we're back into it again. Final Destination, hurry up tomorrow. So the 5th through the 9th of May, maybe, you know what we could do? What if we did the 5th through the 9th of May? So like our episode that comes out May 12th, Mission Impossible episode?
I'd be open to it.
Maybe.
Better than Fast and the Furious episode.
You guys just don't get it.
We're doing that Ghibli episode.
Hey,
Never. No.
I feel like that's a good September episode when it starts to get a little chilly out again and you're like, ooh, and then you're cozy to watch some Ghiblis.
We'll get around to it in 5 months.
Are you
Episode
busy then?
125.
Yeah.
A full year. Like,
Yeah, I
well,
don't think we're
make
busy
sure
in
to
September.
make sure to interact with our social media pages.
Yeah,
on
doing some mad
Instagram,
numbies.
TikTok, X. I mean, we are
Actually, everything's happening on X.
exactly. Everything is happening on X. YouTube. We're on every single social media platform besides Threads. So
And we're not on Reddit.
But
Maybe we
who's
should
on Threads?
start a Reddit. We can start a Reddit. I'll think about starting a Reddit for us. Okay. Anything else, boys? Good week of new movies that came out. Honestly, very impressive. Of all of them, I texted you guys last night. 3 movies came out this weekend. 3 of them are in my top 5. Amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Anything else?
Go
Sinners
Rory.
next week. Go Rory. Don't choke. All right. Have a week at the box office and enjoy Sinners.